What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Ghouls Gaming and Tech channel. We have another best visual and gameplay settings video for you guys. Obviously, if you've been watching the channel by now, you know this is no different. We do a best visual and gameplay settings video for any big release that comes out, and this game is no different. We have Ghost of Yotei. This game has been enhanced for the PS5 Pro, so I'm giving you guys these examples on the Pro. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and if you're new or returning, make sure to hit that like button. It's definitely appreciated. It's the best way that I and YouTube knows you guys enjoy this type of video. So I'm excited to play this game. I played Ghost of Tsushima, beat it, played through it one time, and I think I'm on a second playthrough. I probably won't finish that playthrough now that this game is out. But yeah, I did do just quick disclaimer, I did do a a graphical settings showdown or breakdown video, which should be coming out after this video. We're in the game right here. This is right after the intro scene. Let's press start. And as far as controls, we're not going to change those because these controls are just fine for this game. They work well for the last game. I don't see why they change them in this game. And then gameplay. I'm pretty proficient at Ghost of Tsushima, and I would imagine it's the same with this game. There's going to be some new surprises here and there, but I decided to play my difficulty on lethal because I'm pretty used to the game. I can kind of figure out the best way to play it without dying too many times, but I don't mind dying because I don't know how short this game is, and you know, I don't want to just be breezing through it. I want some kind of challenge, so I played on lethal. That's just me. You can change it if you like. Target lock, I have this on disabled because multiple times in this game you will face more than one enemy. Just in the intro alone, I was facing like 6 enemies. I don't want to lock on one because as soon as you do that, somebody behind you is going to attack you, and then it'll mess up your camera, and you're going to get hit, and it's going to happen multiple times. So I would recommend putting that on disabled, not even on swap on defeat, because if you lock on one, if they're not defeated yet, you can still get attacked by the people behind you, and if you're focusing on that one, you're susceptible to some damage from the other one. So I would turn that off or leave that on disabled. Photo mode, obviously we leave that on. Photo mode archery, sure. Melee camera, leave that on default. I didn't change much settings in this one as far as this one. Last man camera, so I left this on default. Basically it locks on in a little cinematic style, I guess. When you're facing last enemy, just a visual cue that you know you're facing last enemy. I don't mind this because it's the last one, and it makes it a little bit more dramatic and cinematic when you're doing that. You can make it reduce the motion so it's not as dramatic of a swift change in visuals, but the default one's fine. So it comes in default, but I'm just trying to explain that part. Anyways, all this other stuff is on default. Wolf appearances off, no duels, but I left it on. Quick camp enabled. So and those of you who don't know, quick camp, it says automatically shorten or skip certain camping events after repeated exposure, includes fire starting and cooking. So yes, we want this to be enabled because we don't want to see that every single time. But anyways, let's go back, and then you have your audio right here. Obviously put your audio output to wherever you have. I have headphones in right now, so that's why it's set to headphones, but if you have like a sound bar or whatever, change it to that. I don't play with subtitles. I just like to be more immersed, and if I have subtitles and I'm constantly reading them, it kind of takes me out of the actual scene, so I always turn those off, and then all your volumes should be on 100. So here's the meat and potatoes display. Here's where I actually change a decent amount of stuff, and I changed some things in accessibility, but display default brightness comes on 50. That one's completely fine. The wolf that they give you the little brightness scale on, it says to make the eyes like barely visible. They're still barely visible at 30, but for some other settings that I'm going to show here, I put it on 60. I brightened it up a little bit because of some other settings which we'll get to. But yeah, brightness at 60. The UI, user interface brightness, HDR, I put that up a notch to 60 just to make it a little bit brighter. Just personal preference. Contrast, so it default comes in default. It defaults in default, but I recommend putting this in dramatic. It says adjust contrast of visuals. So if you put it in dramatic, it makes the image a lot more richer. It gives you a better look at those darks, those blacks, the whites, the different colors. It kind of gives you a nice little visual range of contrast of colors, if that makes any sense. On default, they look fine, but it's a little bit more washed out. So I'd rather have it on dramatic, and again, for another reason, because I put my brightness on 60, it brightens up the image, and the contrast at dramatic richens the image, if that makes any sense. So it gives you more punchy colors, and it makes the overall visual a little bit brighter, having your brightness at 60. Graphics mode, like I said, I did do a graphics like showdown breakdown video, which will come out after this, but I tested all these graphics modes. The best one is Ray Tracing Pro. Trust me, by all means. Anybody who knows, it says enable higher quality lighting and target 60 frames per second at an intermediate resolution. Now, what does intermediate resolution mean? For the PS5 Pro, basically, because this is Ray Tracing Pro, it's only available for the Pro. Basically, with PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution and Advanced Ray Tracing and all that good stuff, it's upscaling an image. So, image that would, when you're trying to get 60 frames, an image that would be typically like 2K or whatever, it's upscaling it to get it to 4K, but still run at 60 frames per second. So that's what that intermediate resolution is. It's an upscaling. It's not native. Only available on PS5 Pro console, like I said, and cutscenes will be rendered at 30 frames. Cutscenes, they don't look 30 frames to me. They look pretty smooth, but hey, it is what it is. But graphics mode, Ray Tracing Pro. Motion blur, I left that on. Mic mode, so it's inspired by the film's acclaimed director. It adds more mud, more blood, and uses a tighter cinematic camera. There is a lot of blood and a fair amount of mud, I guess, but I wouldn't mind a little bit more. So we're going to leave this on for now. It says, warning, off-screen attacks are harder to see, making combat more challenging. So I'm going to leave this on for now. If it gets annoying to the point where it's just like, all right, bro, this is a little excessive, then I'll turn it off. But I kind of just want to see how this works out with that long term. So I turn that on. And Watanabe mode, this is lo-fi music. I turn this on. It's nice to have some music here and there when you're just kind of chilling, exploring, and stuff like that. It defaults on off. Both of these two modes, they default on off. Enemy status meter, I left that on. HUD style, I probably will go to expert eventually once I get really in depth into the game, once I get the hang of it. But until then, I'll do it on standard because I need a little bit more visual cues. But once I get the hang of it, I'll probably switch to expert. Show mask on cutscene. I think it defaults on, but I turned it off because in the last game, while the mask looks cool, a lot of this stuff is very emotional, kind of dramatic scenes, and I want to see the emotion on the character's face. If you have that mask on, you're missing kind of all that emotion, so I turned that off. Show on back, I think this comes in last use, but I switched this to shamisen. I think that's how you say it. I think that's the little banjo on the back. I think so. Could be wrong, but I'd rather have this. I don't want the last use melee weapon or anything like that. I'll put this on that. And then show blood and dismemberment. Yes, we want those on. All right, accessibility. So, like I said, not much I changed in this. I did just change a few things. So, all this stuff is default. Enhanced wind visibility. If you need this, by all means, turn this on. I don't want too much wind. I turned this on in the last game. It was just too much at times. I can pretty much figure out whether wind's blowing once I turn that, or once I toggle that option. So, wind gust camera. So, I accidentally touched my touchpad often on this game. Don't know why, but I do because I'm using those controls. I don't want the camera to snap to what direction I'm looking at. As you can see, it says, when guiding winds gust, the camera automatically locks in the direction the wind blows. I don't want that to happen during combat, and I don't want that to happen when I'm exploring. I'll toggle the wind, see what direction it's going, and then I'll turn accordingly. I don't want it to snap every single time because it's going to throw me off. So I left that off, or turned it off, whatever it came in. And then keep going down. Aim assist. So for ranged weapons like my arrows, when you're throwing daggers and like you're using the firearm, I want a little bit of aim assist, definitely if I'm from distance, just to kind of help me lock onto my target. I'm pretty much fine either way, but I just want it on just to give me a little extra assistance. And then I think that is it. I didn't change anything else. So yeah, it's mainly some of these accessibility features and display features. But yeah, those are the best visual and gameplay settings for this game. Hopefully these will help you guys out. As you can kind of see what my setup looks like with those settings I have enabled. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I really appreciate it. And as always, love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.